Japan's ruling Liberal Democratic Party, the LDP, has selected Fumio Kishida as the next prime minister. Polls show he is not popular with the public, but the fact is that largely doesn't matter too much given the dominance of the LDP since 1955. So, members picked a safe, moderate choice to tackle big problems facing the country, from public debt to its demographic burden because of an expanding elderly population. Following his selection, Kishida pledged a new capitalism that would not leave the middle class behind.
I want to raise the income of many people, not just certain groups of people, but as broadly as possible, regardless of where they live or what type of occupations they may have. I'm sure that will trigger a shift in expenses in the economy.
Joining us is Jeff Kingston, a Japan specialist and director of Asian Studies at Temple University's Japan campus. Jeff, we just heard Kishida's pledge to combat growing income inequality. How sincere is he, and how much can he really do on that front?
Well, it's interesting. The two contenders for leadership both were implicitly repudiating Abenomics, arguing that it led to increased inequalities and the marginalization of many families. And so basically, Abenomics is depicted by many people as welfare for the wealthy. And so the LDP wants to distance itself from that legacy of Abenomics and try to pull a plank from the opposition's platform to say, we're going to unveil programs that address inequality and the needs of the vulnerable. And so this will play well in terms of the LDP's image, because it's seen to be the conservative party that has carried out a series of neoliberal reforms that did increase inequality. The problem for Kishida will be is that he essentially is Abe's puppet. So how is he going to really do anything significant, particularly since Japan's public debt to GDP ratio is like 260%, double the level in the United States. So it remains to be seen whether he can really deliver on this. But
Right.
I think going into the national elections, he really needs to do something.
Now, I want to follow up on that. I mean, I'm speaking to you from Germany, and you mentioned the tactics of Japan's Liberal Democratic Party to co-opt and adopt the opposition's most popular policies in order to maintain its party dominance. It's very reminiscent of Angela Merkel and her party, but we just saw that finally catch up to the Christian Democrats here. Do you have a sense of whether Japan is going to, by choosing the safe choice and a candidate the public doesn't feel crazy about, will that catch up to the LDP at some point?
Well, maybe at some point, but not in the next national elections. Everybody's expecting the LDP will lose some seats, and so it's down to how many they'll lose. So I think that what they want to do is to appeal to floating voters that are not affiliated with a particular political party. So Kishida's ploy, I think, will work to some extent, but people understand the LDP's DNA. Kishida, doesn't have much charisma. He doesn't light up a room. He's a consensus maker, not much of a leader, but he's considered to be steady Eddie, safe hands. And so I think that's the image the LDP wishes to convey.
Now, very quickly, on foreign policy, more of the same, including the same tougher policy on China?
Yes, I think there's a consensus within Japan that they need to stand up to China, but also I think they're going to pursue diplomatic initiatives. And there has been speculation that Kishida may make some outreach to North Korea as well. But the U.S. alliance will remain central to Japanese security policy, and I don't see any major changes in the offing.
Jeff Kingston, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.